Hello and welcome to the world's favourite paint-along nonsense in the background wargaming podcast. Well, that's what we're calling it anyway, with over 300 listeners for the last episode. Astonishing, really. And thanks also to everybody on Twitter who's been giving us some good feedback and some love in the last couple of weeks. Hopefully we don't disappoint you too much this week as lockdown starts to sort of ease in the UK and we have less time painting and a bit more time going out and actually playing games. So you'll be able to all hear about the real world as well as all the usual bunch of nonsense from the usual bunch of 7 nonsense-speaking people. So sit back, pin back your ears and look forward to this week's Madaxeman.com podcast.
This means war.
Well, welcome to our 43rd lockdown podcast and our 80th podcast on this podcast channel, which is kind of getting enough that we ought to start calling this a second season or something, didn't we? Really? Otherwise, once it gets close to 100, that's just nonsense. But unsurprisingly, I am yet again joined by the gang of 7, all in their little windows. I think, Mr. Saunders, you're waving from an employed window, which is fantastic news as well.
Strange,
that's good. You look a lot more professional already. But we'll see. We'll see if the audio's picked up. And we've got a packed program tonight. But without further ado, I think the meat of the subject issue is always, as always, about painting, basing. What have you been up to this week? And I think let's start with in the kitchen bunker, Mr. Finkel. What's your last fortnight been on the world of painting?
Very little, actually. I finished off the Paras and the Hanamags. I think I just needed basing. I've done most of the painting. And then most of my hobby time has actually been planning army lists or actually playing games, which is nice to report.
That's pretty old school, isn't it? My God, you're not.
Well,
just
yeah, but it was nice.
away.
I actually got to use some figures I'd painted up during lockdown. So it's like the painting that we've all done. It was kind of phase 1, and I was able to get onto phase 2 with at least one of my armies.
Oh, brilliant! So almost no painting at all in the last fortnight, just a little bit finishing off.
Yeah,
okay.
Very little. Yeah.
All right. Well, Adam, what about you on the south coast? Have you managed to fit things in between? Because has it been too wet for the cricket season to interrupt?
It's been outrageously wet. It's humid. The only reason why I'm here now today is because it was raining. It's just it's cricket's not happening, which means that sort of like painting has been a little bit, but again, it's like life's kind of happening as well. So my painting slowed down, but I'm carrying on with the Swiss. And when I did the Swiss, I know when I'm they're sort of coming together, and I've looked at pipe box, and even when I was doing it, I was doing too much armour, because the Swiss are really a bunch of peasants that sort of like gave a kicking to the nobles with sort of big choppers and pokey things, and some of them looted armour and stuff. But I've gone for that sort of like real solid look armour, just make them look tough and Swiss pipe blocky with the armour, which. It's good.
Do you feel conflicted about that? Veering away from the historical.
Probably
not. No, why did I even ask? Yeah,
but well, it's like we do toy soldiers, and everything we do sort of like cartoony. It's not a Hollywood version of history because we do something better than that.
Well, because they've not made this film about Swiss pikemen yet. That's why.
Well, they bloody well should do. But I mean, the other good thing about doing more metal than I probably should is, as I say, I'm painting in cantonal colours, like 2 pipe blocks, one from each different canton. Again, probably unrealistic, to be honest. So we're probably all wearing brown and covered in shit. But one thing I discovered about painting black undercoated figures, which I haven't done for a while, because as you all know, I've been painting sort of like doing the paint slop over whatever colour, is one of the pipe blocks I'm doing as burn, because the flag's really cool because it's got a bear on. Which means the cantonal colours are red and yellow, and painting red and yellow over black.
Oh, it's fun, isn't it?
It's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is true. Getting a brightness to it, definitely.
Well, I was just the yellow. I didn't want the yellow bright because let's face it, no one in medieval times had sort of bright. But just getting something. Just getting something that didn't have black showing through.
Yeah.
What I'm just going to suggest, undercoat the areas you're going to paint red and yellow with a brown.
Well, what I did was for the red, Games Workshop sell what they call foundation paint, which is just like a really thick pigment paint. So I thought I'd give that a go. So I did the undercoat, the first layer in that, which wasn't ideal, but it was all right. It gave not bad coverage. And then I did a slightly brighter red over the top, which was good. And for the yellow, so one thing I started doing years ago, so if I've got paint yellow on black, is I always do the first bait coat in sand, Dunkelgelb, because I do like me a good bit of Dunkelgelb, and I sort of like go darker and I try and build the yellow up from there. And again, nothing is ideal with painting yellow on black, but that gives sort of like some sort of base, and then I had to do a couple of coats on top. So it's all taken me a lot longer than my sort of technique for Dacians and the Romans, because it's like black undercoat, putting on 3 layers, blah, blah, blah. And the other annoying thing is I'm doing 24 figures and only getting 2 bases out of it, which is a bit of a pain in the arse. I mean, there'll be 2 good-looking bases, so that'd be good, but it's like, it's a lot of painting just to get 2 bases out of it, but ho-hum. And they're slowly coming together, and I'll probably get them done in the next week or 2.
Okay, that's a challenge then. Good. No, I must admit, when you're talking about the Dacians, that's been one of my painting projects in the last fortnight. So I've got 1 base of these, I can't believe they're not Thracians, which are the Victrix Peltast geezers with the Dacian cloaks and Dacian heads and the Victrix Peltasty shields. So there's a bit of LBMS kind of, 20 quid worth of shield transfers on that unit of 6. But maybe I've just gone too big on the cloaks, because with all 6 of them on cloaks, it looks like sort of that Batman scene from Only Fools and Horses, where they come out of the clouds, and they barely kind of fit on. But
you haven't got the Reliant Robin on the base, though, have you?
Well, possibly. No. That may be the other base. Maybe that's
when
bit of modern.
You sort of texted me and said, how did you get them all on the base? And I said, I didn't find it too hard. I think that's it. I just gave them the odd cloak. So the odd one had a cloak, so it's like they'll fit, because those cloaks are very flowing, and
they are absolutely flowing. They're just like whoosh out the back. You can almost hear the music as they run along. And I've used some of the extra hands and things. And one thing I've done, because for some reason it didn't kind of work, I've realised that even at this scale, even at 28s, you can stick some of the hands on backwards, so they're kind of like holding their spears kind of with their wrists the wrong way around, and the phalanx stuff, she can't bloody see, really. And there's some people with very, very, there's a guy at the back with like a really odd arm thing going on there. That one with the Smurf hat, this one, there's something very strange about the way he's holding his Rumpia there. I think you can even see it in this.
Yeah, if the ball hit his hand, he'd definitely be a penalty.
Like, whatever, but maybe it's just tricky. Maybe he almost dropped it or something like that and had to catch it in midair. So that's been one of the things. And then I've finally bitten the bullet and gone to start doing these crappy Egyptian, well, not crappy, great figures, these Egyptian spearmen from Zeiston, so that I can field a huge army of mediocre spearmen at some point, possibly even get them done in time for that competition that you're running, if they're allowed in there. I can't remember, just to allow myself to get beaten, and then I painted up.
I think that sounds like a date range for that.
Spear?
Sorry?
What army are you doing with the mediocre spear?
I think there's one of the Egyptian Chiron is one of the it's not really Egyptian, Saitic Egyptian that gets that, and some Greeks. And then I kind of banged together a couple of the old Essex side chariot that I'd had undercoated for about 20 years, and posted them up. And it was kind of thinking, why have I got 4 of these sat in a drawer, undercoated and never used? And someone on Facebook pointed out it's because the DBM list for I can't remember which army, that many Persians, allowed 0 to 4 of them. So I must have bought 0 to 4 and then thought, can't be asked, or whatever. So the 2 that have still got surviving sides on them, they've got done this week. And then there's been a bit of nonsense with painting up the artillery wagon type things in 15mm and sticking some guns into the side of it. But I've still got to do the crew to go in it and work out how to do the horses. But the crew, so the guns are quite substantial and quite Napoleonic, possibly, because I appear to have quite a lot of Napoleonic guns excess kicking around for some reason. So, but you can't really see once you've kind of chopped the stuff off and they're all in there, and hopefully nobody will notice. So it's been pretty eclectic, as well as finishing off and getting varnish. But I had a varnish moment today, because Testors Dullcote is, by all accounts, actually gone for real this time. And I've been looking around to see what the alternative is, and it sounds like the alternative is Winsor & Newton Professional matte. And I posted it onto Twitter because I went out and bought some at the local art shop. They got some in, and I posted up and said, look, this is me finally admitting that I can no longer manage to source Testors Dullcote, and I'm moving to this. And I think it's been the most commented thing I've ever posted on Twitter. Like, Wargaming Twitter's gone, yeah, I'm all in on that. Yeah, it's great. I've been using it for 10 years. It's brilliant. You can use it outside. It's like, how were there all these people out there using something when every time I used to post or see anything about
I told you about it. You just didn't believe it.
Possibly, yeah, but maybe I just ignored it. But it
Yeah,
used,
well,
the answer to all questions used to be Testors Dullcote. But then suddenly there's this whole secret cadre of people who believe in another varnish and have been kind of keeping it secret. So I'm waiting for the weather to clear, a bit like you, Adam, and find something to varnish, and then find that it actually works because everybody says it does. But it's a big old can, a bit pricey, 15 quid, which is kind of, yeah, a bit pricey, but it's
Wargamer's budget.
Yeah, Wargamer's budget. It's got to be, it's got to work. So there's been a bit of buying stuff, and actually buying from a real shop, not buying online, which has been fun around this. But
means war.
the online shopping expert is in 2 weeks. I've got to ask Tamsin what has come through the post, or what has made it onto your painting table. Have you bought an extra battalion of US jungle rangers or something like that?
No, I haven't. I have made purchases, but it's all been MDF bases. So
What, you mean you didn't get the Japanese paratroopers to go with your US ones?
no, I haven't. I think last time I said I'd either just started on working on sort of load of hills or was about to start, and that's what I've been doing. So finished off sort of the wasteland, deserty wasteland hills. That took a bit of doing. Some initial dry brushing I went too far and they ended up bleached, so I had to go back and sort of re-dry brush with the orangey shade, get them to look to fit in with the rock formations I did last year. I think you might remember those.
Rock formations are really good.
Well, yeah, that's like we're on Mars, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and there's green ones.
Star Trek.
It looks a bit like that beyond Galaxy 41. I'm glad to be back from there.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
And also sort of the other hills I did, I've decided to make them for jungle hills. I haven't added the jungle vegetation yet, but
Have you put kind of short flock onto? Oh, you have put short flock onto that. We can see
Yeah.
it now.
it's 2 and 4 mil mix of
There's a blend. There's
2
a
and
special
4
hill
mil
blend.
static grass that's gone up.
Yeah, static grass.
I think these will be areas, sort of more open areas, but I'll still have some vegetation on. But I haven't got around to it. Haven't quite got there yet.
This is your famous blue foam, then.
No, the blue foam's underneath.
Okay.
Rock bits that you see, they're the ones that I did with that Kerama stone.
Okay, so the rocky outcrops on your blue foam hills are not rocks. They've been made in Kerama stone as well.
Yeah.
Wow, well they look remarkably like stones. So I suppose that's a bit of a result, isn't it?
Yeah.
That could be a good one.
It's where I think that's the sort of leafy stuff there. You can see that's mixed herbs.
It actually is mixed herbs.
Yeah.
For real.
Yes.
Good.
Italian.
That's like not a specialist Wargamers product. You are not picking stones out of a garden, but you are using mixed herbs. Can you
Yes,
still
I
smell
am.
them? Or
Yeah, they smell very nice.
oh, The fragrant hills of Mars.
Yeah. I've smelled. Aroma will fade over time.
Yeah, that's what I say about many of my fellow wargamers. But
yeah. And also sort of I'd give it 10 minutes if I were you.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of that one as well. Yes. Otherwise, you're sprinkling the mixed herbs there, indeed. Okay, so it's been a week of terrain. Nothing tempted you on the figure front this couple of weeks?
Not really. I'm thinking about things. What I need, what I might want to add. So I'm looking through a version 4.
You've been a version 4
for the army list. Realised there's been a change on the Yi Korean, and because you now got an option, it's either mediocre pike or heavy spearman. And I've had before it was just mediocre pike, which I'd done. So I might need to get some more Koreans from Timecast.
The old glory ones,
to do some heavy spear bases.
Okay, yes, because they do those. Cool. All right.
Sounds a bit like the Scots, doesn't it? Really. When you got choice between the two things.
Okay.
Which Korean list is that?
Yi Korean.
Peter, are you looking at the list now? Is this because two weeks ago you were threatening to have a whole day off just to work out what you needed to buy or something like that?
I did. I had great fun with it. I was also looking. That's why I was asking, because I was reading about the Three Kingdoms Korean, and I was expecting you to say the Red Banner guys. That's why I was like going, which list? I was like, Red Banner. They've got pikes. Red Banner. Right. I like Red Banner. I've been watching the film.
There's a film. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I carry on. So don't know if you can see it very clearly.
Been working on
asparagus.
You're making asparagus?
Is that like a Welsh
Kunai grass? Kunai grass, very long grass that you get in the Pacific.
Oh, that's the elephant grass, isn't it? It's long enough to hide an elephant.
Yeah. So it'll be tall. So it can go up to 10 foot tall. So
you don't need to buy any figures. That's brilliant. It'll be like doing submarine warfare, won't it?
So
hiding in the grass.
Yeah, so that's the terrain. It was trying to work out. So made lots of little bunches of bristles, and it was been working out the best way to get them onto bases.
And have you worked out the best way? Are you drilling holes in it or anything
I
like
have,
that?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's using sort of the brown acrylic frame sealant. Blob into the centre of the base and stick them in, and they seem to be holding fairly solid. So yeah.
Good. Well, I can probably now recommend a matte varnish that you can use to kind of tone down the flame sealant, I guess, as well. Yeah. That may be my expert thing. Okay.
This means war.
Well, look, Peter, I think we almost have you painted any nonsense in the last couple of weeks, or has it just been working out where you're going to throw your money?
Bit of both, actually. I actually got a bit of painting of Arabs, and following a real life game experience with Dave, I've been sorting out my assassinates because I was like, all of a sudden they're very viable, and doing various things like that, and going, Koreans, who can I play with cataphracts? But I'll come back to that once we talk about games and where I'm finding my new elephant. But basically, I did a bit of painting in the Arabs. It's just fun using those contrast paints. I'm sorry, but I've just been in sort of mellow moments, chilling out, doing nice flowing robes, and it's just a chill out thing to paint. No stress. What daft arse color can I find next? Doing that, and then doing the research on some of the lists and going, ooh, that'd be fun. Those would be nice. And no, I don't fancy doing that because it's a lot of hard work.
I saw someone asked a question on the club group this week about what are the best elephants for Arabs, and you were like within seconds we're going, here's 3 different options. So was that something you've been looking at possibly? Or was that a bit of a giveaway?
No need to look at it if I just open the cupboard.
Oh right. Oh okay. It's already
They're
in there.
already there.
Yeah.
In both 15 and 28 mil. You know.
You've got you've got 28s. Wow.
Well, I've got 28s with the elephants because they went over quite nicely. My son stomped away with them and did quite well with them. But no, I've also got some Romans with carts with some little bolt throwers on as well.
I bet half the ADLG world has been getting those out.
You've got to, just for a bit of fun. Plus, it was just little bits of things, so added into different things. So I've just been, as the lists have changed subtly, not massively, but given a couple of nice little variations on that. So I've been adding to different things, but I've just been searching through about what's going to be my next list to do while I'm waiting for the Assyrians. Dave's been chasing up for me on them. But what else? I think I'm going to do an Eastern army because I haven't really done one apart from the Chinese and the Indians. So it's like, which one do I want to do? And it's trying to pick one out. So that's why my ears were pricking up when Tamsin was saying Koreans, because they've got some nice cataphracts. And I've just got to have a look at what I'm going to throw money at next.
Peter, why wouldn't you do Burmese?
Because I can almost do Burmese from what I've got already with the elephants and everything else.
But Burmese elephants are different to other people's elephants, aren't they? Fundamentally, they're covered in little geezers.
Well, yeah, but they come with different beers, you know. It's just for the new meta. I mean, I've done the elephant thing to death. I want to try a slightly different meta.
Yep.
And so that's the point.
You wanted to do an Eastern army because you haven't really got one apart from the Chinese and the Indians. It's like saying, I want to do a classical army because I haven't really got one apart from the Greeks and the Romans.
Exactly. You know, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. I've only covered the basics. There's so much more to aim at. Well, apart from Mongols as well, but you wouldn't really cast them as Eastern. You know, they just went and took over the Chinese, and then you can flex into a bunch of other things. But I haven't really spread into some of the sort of weird and wonderful ones. So it's trying something a bit of an esoteric. So I don't think I'm going to go Tibetan, but, you know, I'm looking around a couple of things.
I've come up with a fantastic Tibetan army list. I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I was looking also at the samurai as well, because they're fantastically colourful, and I was really put off painting them until Dave told me you either go black or red. So I'm like going, man, it's my new gold. You know, it's like I can win with this. New gold, you know, red, few highlights, sweet. It's looking good. Plus, they have all face masks, so don't you have to paint the face, do you? Yeah. So, you know,
that works definitely. That definitely works. Cool. Okay. So, so that's been your summary of painting. So let's move around the thing. So, Dave,
I've been using Winsor and Newton as well.
You've been using Winsor and Newton matte varnish to tone down the gold.
No. To make it bling.
Make it bling. All right. You
I did actually find some cataphracts that use gold a lot. So that's in my Sassanets.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Saunders, with your new professional haircut and your new professional ethos, it just looks so slick. I feel that we should do a PowerPoint presentation here. Have you managed to fit any painting in, or has it just been work and gaming for you?
There's been no painting at all. None
right,
at all.
We'll move on. Is there any you wish you'd done, or any you've dreamt about, imagined you'd done?
I mean, I could bore you all with the Franks again, but no, they're still sitting on the table. I did do 2 light bases of light horse, but that was last podcast, I think.
That was before the last one.
Last week I was in preparation for starting work, so I just did nothing but drink and go to restaurants in preparation.
Yeah, well, you know, it's. I guess. What, are you a restaurant critic? Is that your new job?
Oh yes, definitely.
Yes, that would be good. Right.
Sorry, Dave. I'm starting to think that your Franks are some sort of like war game painting based philosophical concept. I mean, if a Frank doesn't get painted on a war games work table and there's no one there to see it, do they really count as based or something? It's just going on forever.
I 100% agree. I would ask one question though. Are the YI Koreans Geordies? Are they Geordie dynasty? Do they have a Newcastle as a base?
That was Dave. That was a real accent mashup that didn't really work on any level at all. But
They end up fighting the Tafia, wouldn't they? The Scouse Kingdom.
indeed, the Tafia.
I thought that was a fairly convincing Korean accent myself.
Yes. Yeah. Have you seen that film? What's that one? Parasite. That's very jolly. And there's a bit of there's a bit of sword and ship war games action at the end of that as well. But in terms of comedy accents, I think that means we inevitably must finally wrap up and come to Mr. Simon. Good day. How are you, sir?
G'day, mate. How's it going?
It's all cracking. It's all cracking.
So I've managed to achieve a grand total of 4 bases of medieval knights. So I've got 2 dismounted badges. So the lead knight is in full gold armor, just in honor of Peter. So
nice, like the style.
Because you know what it's like. You're looking through your boxes of random miniatures, and you find that you've got a box of Perry's medieval knights that's been unpainted. I was like, oh well, let's get them out. You think of what else do you need in the army? So I painted 2 of the knights gold to make them really obvious as being the elite knights. So you can look at them and go, the guy in the gold, that's Peter. He's reasonably elite, so he'll die first. So I've got the 4 base of foot knights, looking rather proper. And I've done one of them on a 60 mil square base, 1 or 2 of them. So you've got about 8 or 9 knights, all on one base. So when you look at it, you can think, yeah, that's definitely heavy infantry. So looking forward to getting them on the table and rampaging around.
Cool. All right. So did you have to actually make those, or were they pre-made and you not started painting them, or?
They were partially made.
Those Perry ones almost come partially made, don't they? They kind of, you start making them and then they lurk for a long time and then they just get finished off.
Yeah, so it was, because I started looking through, like all of us, looking through the version 4 army lists, and so you get motivated going, I could probably do a few more foot knights, because you can never have enough of those. Then I need some medium spearmen, so you rummage through the box and you find that you've got 4 bases worth of medium spearmen lurking around that were completely disassembled. So during our beautiful weather the last few weeks, they've been based up, and haven't got as far as anything more than base coating. But it's always good to have more knights, I think. If I need more knights, I think I've got a box full and a half of 28 mil plastic knights.
Well, I think the fact that we've kind of gone around and it's been chucking it down with rain for the last fortnight, and we've not really been able to do much else. Although we have, I suppose, eased lockdown, but nobody's managed to do much painting, probably does suggest that the old gaming piece has been occupying quite a lot of time. So maybe that's our next plan, to move on and talk about what gaming we've done this week.
This means war.
So version 4 ADLG has rolled out and has bounced gently on the floor and infected the internet, and I think they've even started receiving it in Australia and New Zealand now. It's all been shipping around the world. Everybody's got it, which is fantastic, because it means Stephen Ladiani won't keep emailing me questions about a rule book he's not even got yet, because that's been occupying more of my time than painting, I think. But I guess people have either been, round the table, round the screen, we've been squeezing in a few games and coming a bit of army list kind of working out. And 2 weeks ago, we just went through the list of changes, theoretically speaking, having seen it for the first time. But now, I guess most or many or all or some of us have got at least a game or 2 under our belts of version 4 to see how it's panning out. And I think maybe, Mr. Saunders, you were saying that you were the one who had some ums and ahs and you've been throwing yourself at it. What's from the games you've played? Don't take us through the Rimmer style dice by dice, please, for God's sake. But just what's your kind of vibe? What's your feeling? What's your I'm surprised by that on actually having played some games rather than just done theory DLG?
Well, I think the first thing to say is it's been so long since any of us actually played any games. It was a struggle just to remember how to play full stop, let alone version 4 or version 3 for that matter.
Yeah.
you were sitting there going, "Oh, what happens there?" And
Yeah, what do I do?
How does that work? But no, I've played 7 games.
Oh my God! Wow.
Well, 2 against you. And I've only
Oh,
lost.
sorry, I do remember that. Yeah, I shouldn't sound quite surprised, but the other 5, yeah.
I've only lost 1 game, so I'm feeling very, very happy with version 4.
It's just about the winning for you. That's all that counts.
No, not at all. Not at all. At the risk of boring Adam, I will tell the story of how my integrated artillery beats Peter's light horse in combat.
In combat, what? That you let Peter's light horse get round the back of your legion then, and attack your integrated?
My light
No, they
horse.
came straight up the middle because he left a great big hole.
So I left my assault integrated artillery behind to cover the hole in my line, and they just promptly beat some light horse.
Right.
Sorry, Adam. I had to do it.
No.
But no,
of the rules, because you were umming and ahhing about, particularly about, I think, the light horse zocking things, and then also about cataphracts and whether they would become, a bit too pokey. How have those 2 things played out for you?
I played Gordon's. The one game I've lost was Gordon's Picts, which was interesting.
The mighty Picts.
That's his army for York. 30 bases of the damn thing.
Wow.
And he had one group of 6 light horse, including mediocre light horse. I had no idea there was any such thing as mediocre light horse.
Yeah.
That army was interesting. Very difficult for the Romans to deal with. I don't see any problems at all. I haven't faced many cataphracts. I've used cataphracts only in 2 penny packet things. But so far so good. I mean, last night I played Gordon and used the biblicals with the light chariot armor.
Oh, right. How did that work? Because does that really, and heavy chariots are now different as well, aren't they?
Well, we didn't use heavy chariots. We're using I was using New Kingdom Egyptian, and Gordon was using
Cushites, wasn't he?
He was using Cushite, yeah. So the thing we found in that, I was actually going to take an army which had a strategist and a brilliant general, because the New Kingdom Egyptians have a command of 5. And I think we did realise that having the extra command and control, having the extra pips, indeed, especially if you roll 6s and Gordon rolls 1s.
Yeah,
which was always helpful. That made a big difference. I think that's going to be one of the things that's going to be interesting. I think we'll see larger armies of weaker barbarian foot sort of things, and smaller professional armies with more command and control, and that's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be good. Yeah.
So how did the chariots play out? Because light chariots were always targets for archery and a bit nonsense. Did you use them differently now you had armored chariots?
Well, in actual fact, both Gordon and I seem to line up our light chariots with armor in the center of the table. And we had a sort of chariot on chariot face off, which was bowmen fire, going in and shooting each other. There was a bit of evading, just one evading. I was, if one was damaged, I evaded with it, brought another one in to fill the gap. And we shot each other until Gordon realised he was going to have to charge in. But the armour worked. I think it's kind of evened it up in a strange sort of way. I think the impact swordsman can face off against the chariots with armour now, but the chariot might survive, because it's got the armour. I think it's made... I always liked ADLG for biblicals. I think it works really well in the biblical area, and I think it's improved it. It really has.
That's interesting. All right. Anyone else? Who else has played a game in the last couple of weeks? Andy, what about you? You always, do you fit it in real games or carried on with your virtual?
Well, a bit of both, really. Since we moved to version 4, my first game was against Simon, and I think he'll admit he was a bit rusty and didn't go his way. But we were using medieval, and I tried some of these new sword longbow units, and I thought they work quite well, because you could shoot the enemy like with longbows, and that's always a good thing anyway, and then you could actually get stuck in with a reasonable chance of hurting them. So as long as you didn't go near enemy knights or stuff like that, you could pretty well take on most types of infantry after you've shot them up.
So did you use more longbows than you would have done previously then in the army?
I think I did, because I took the view that I could use them as medium swords and with shooting capability. They're kind of like janissaries with longbows, really. And, have a few longbow just to, keep enemy horsey people, under control.
No, I was using
ordnance French, so I had about four shooty things. I don't like having too many pure shooty things in an army, because that's an accident waiting to happen.
I think I've seen a potential, 100 Years War or something list with 10 longbows in it, or 10 longbow swordsmen, and that's quite a lot of firepower for anybody to be chucking out, really. Against anything mounted, you've suddenly got 3 blocks of 2s and 3s pinging away at you all the way across the table, and a load of foot knights and stuff like that. And I think that will make that list play a lot more like what it's supposed to with a lot of those things. I think also, I don't think you have to have them all with stakes now, do you? So you've got a few more options to make them a little bit cheaper, which is good. Yeah, well, you can take the longbow sword, you can just take pure longbow, which are now, I think, eight or 9 points. I can't remember which. Yeah.
If you take them ordinary, the choice after 14, 15, I think, seems to be between ordinary sword longbow or elite pure longbow.
Yeah. That's all or nothing or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. But so that was so I fought Simon's Free Company, and it's now a free platoon after the losses it suffered. And then I played Dave online, and we were doing Dacians against Romans, and nothing.
Adam, listen up. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Dacians had 28 guys in their army, and that was a bit of a nasty thing to face. But we just about beat them. Nothing special to report from there, apart from it was a fun game. I played an interesting game against Sean last night, and a couple of interesting learnings came up. One was he was using triumvirate Romans with an Armenian ally with 4 cataphracts, and he put them in on one wing against my against an infantry corps which had some allied Romans, and then I managed to get a load of cavalry round, but you really had to mass up the numbers. But once you hit them in the flank, they really collapse. So this flank attack business of what do they call it, melee support, makes a hell of a difference. The other thing which I noticed was terrain seems to make a hell of a difference. You're going to get a lot more terrain now in games, and I think you're going to need more medium infantry to be able to operate in it. And traditionally, I'd have taken 1 medium foot command to dominate a piece of terrain, but I think now you're going to need possibly to think about dealing with 2 bits of terrain with medium or light foot on the battlefield. So therefore, I think you're going to have fewer heavy knights and medium knights, and a more balanced army, which I think is probably good.
So how do you see mounted armies as dealing with that then? Because you get some armies that are kind of like mounted. Is that going to be a real problem for them?
I suppose a question of the initiative. I mean, mounted armies are good. And also, I mean, if you're fighting the Mongols, it's almost certainly going to be out in the steppes. You're not going to have that many bits of terrain anyway. And you probably have a brilliant, or if you're in the Mongols, you take 2 bits of terrain, one of which is a road, and you take the smallest field you can, and then you just try and shift the other bits out to the corners. But if you want to fight in plain and want to try and clog the table up, you've got a reasonable chance of doing that a bit better now, because fewer bits of terrain are going to be cancelled because of where they're put. The 2 things are, number one, if you've got 3 bits of terrain and more in one half of the board than the other, the next bit's going to go in the more open area. And secondly, you get 1 chance to re-roll a piece which would otherwise be removed because there's no room for it. So I think both of those things together mean there's inherently going to be more terrain in most battles, and that's going to make terrain troops more relevant.
Yeah, I think in the game, Dave, me and you played a couple of weeks ago, we missed both of those rules, didn't we? I think that cost probably 2 bits of terrain somewhere in decent parts of the table, which made it a lot challenging. But I played a game against Richard after that, and it did really help push terrain into the middle of the table, which was great from the Thracian army I was using at the time. So there was just a lot more stuff where the rough terrain troops could operate, and that pushed their heavy infantry quite into one particular part of the table, which just made it a very, very different game, or a much more viable game for the medium swordsman types.
Yeah, I was using Thracians last night. I had 24 units in my army.
Wow,
that went quite well. Yeah.
There's a lot more terrain in the steppe, isn't there? There's now 3 brush. There's a river in the steppe.
Yeah,
Have
but
you played the game in the steppe terrain yet?
the number of stuff you can put on the hills, though.
Yeah, that's right. You can only have 1 brush. You can only have 1 gentle hill with brush on it.
Okay.
But that's
Has anyone played a game in steppe so far?
not yet. No, loads to do.
Okay. Yes, loads to do. Loads of things to try.
This means war.
Adam, have you managed to fit in any games in the South Coast in Entoyment?
I've got my first coming tomorrow, which is something to look forward to. My Dacians are getting their first run out.
Brilliant.
Because I had to decide what to do with the extra 14 points given to me by medium swordsman getting cheaper.
Yeah.
So I might do something, try and clever and bump it up. Or then I thought, 1 piece of heavy artillery for a laugh. And just takes it up by 2. Plus you get a piece of heavy artillery, which is got to be kind of funny.
Chuck down as much terrain as you can. That's my tip.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. It's forests or mountains. Because funnily enough, I'm going to have quite a high initiative as well. Because taking 2 light horse, going to have a strategist. I think 3 or 4 sort of like general points. So it's I'm going to have an initiative about 3. So I might get
get it
in badness, or if he attacks me, it's got to be in forests or woods. Which the only other thing I would say about ADLG version 4 is, in the past week or 2, I've actually read the rules. Because usually I'll actually be asked to read them all the way through. I just read what people are saying on Facebook, and that lets me know of any changes. And I've got to say, it's I like how they're written. They're sort of like, for rules that aren't written in English, they're kind of easy to read in English and easy to follow with lots of diagrams. So, a big thank you for the rules type people and translatey type people for that, because they were kind of really easy to read, which I can't say about every set of war games.
Yeah, I think Hervé's got a really, maybe it's a French thing, but he's got a really interesting style of writing rules, which is, just trying to sort of put my finger on it, but it's, a lot of it is just going, here is a list of things that are possible, and then here's the list of exceptions.
Yeah.
And it's just like 2 lists, whereas I think some other rules get wrapped up in trying to encapsulate that all into sentences or in one thing, but just going, you can do this, 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 and this, but you can't do this, 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 and this.
Well, it's not just that. The guy doesn't work in isolation. He has his core people for checking out the rules before he even goes to the translation, and they've got, we've played against most of them. They've got sensible head on their shoulders to push back on certain things. So it's acts as a moderator. So you're not got one person just acting in just pure isolation and then comes out and shocks the audience. And they were very good with giving the feedback. We were chatting with some of them, and it's just, you can see that common sense coming through it.
Yeah, I think they've all played well. But then again, I suppose at the end of the day, it's an evolution of DBM. So they've all been playing for about 30 years. So they've learned something from it in that way. But Peter, what about you? What games have you managed to fit in? Have you beaten up your kids? Have you been down the club yet?
I managed to get down the club and had a game with Dave. Just 1 point off breaking him, having a bit of fun with Parthens, with a bit of cataphracts, and but it's just more the point. What I'm enjoying is, can I get some cataphracts on the table and go in and stomp things? I wasn't that keen on them before. It's a good laugh going at them, and quite frankly, I'm painting some up. I know what Andy was saying about getting around them. It's just, for me, the meta's changed. There's not as many of the heavy bow elite impact anymore. There's only a couple of armies who've got that. So the armies are now restricted in more that either you got bow horse or you got impact horse. So the cataphracts now having that ability to be up against the impact horse is great from my perspective. The whole armor thing and going in at the infantry is great, although I didn't have that great an experience of it. It's just, I can see it working. It's just the other bit about having the the pips to actually do more. Now that makes it really interesting. So either you have the large barbarian type army and coming up to 30 units and just swamp them and overwhelm their choices and everything else, or you start getting clever with it. So I actually quite like the tweaks that I've seen. But to have that shock value, have that punch value, I'm getting some nice gold cataphracts painted up to go stomping through with my Sassanades. You got to do these things.
Your Sassanades? Is that something
Sassanades.
funny about you've been riding a horse too long? Is that what you get?
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to know about the hard Sassanad. That's
they're like the
left
northern
one or the right
Persians.
one. Yeah.
They're the Persians in the north.
Saddle saw.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just good.
Putting his nads on the table at the next competition.
Yes,
absolutely. This is what they're turning up, and then we'll get flanked as Andy will swamp around the sides and everything else. But quite enjoyed it. Quite enjoyed the changes with the V4. I can see some nice little wrinkles that I'm going to have a go at. The light infantry. I still want to find an army where I can get my light infantry flamethrowers in there, because why not?
How was it going down the pub though and actually playing for real? Was that a little bit weird, or was that just?
It was surreal. All of a sudden you're back there. Gordon's having a game with Dave, and they're chatting away, and other people chatting away, and it's nice. It's that having that banter and looking at things slightly differently again. It's great doing the online one. We had a laugh with that, but it's a big difference being back on the table, having a glass of beer or, nice glass of red wine. Wasn't bad, actually. And then just having a banter, having a game, it's just missed that. And I'm spotting this, I'm trying that. And, hearing what other people are trying and looking at.
You also need a slightly different mindset to playing on the table than playing online, because on playing online, you can look at the board overhead and you can see what's where and whether your units are being flanked or overlapped or whatever. On the table, you can get into a position where you're being flanked or overlapped because you've moved guys too far forward without realizing, unless you're very careful. So you need to mentally...
Or you just stand up and move around.
Yeah. But it's...
You could just be tall, Andy. That could be the answer.
Well, it's a bit late for me to try that. Incidentally,
periscope, that was it as well.
Well, that's it. Those figures that you delivered around to me a few weeks ago, they're definitely Clive's, because the first time my medium spear went into melee, they rolled a 1 and the opponents rolled a 6.
Oh, well, okay. Yes, they've still got the spirit of Clive down there. Okay.
Yeah.
But Simon, you were on the other end of one of those games, but sounds like you were a little bit rusty anyway, having been R-ing for quite some time. What was your take on it?
So the first game against Danny was a spectacular example of how not to play. So I think we both can agree I played like a complete and utter plonker, and Andy well and truly deserved to thrash me senseless. So
all I would say is your deployment was suboptimal. That's all I'd say.
Yeah, that's an understatement and a half. So I was glad at the end to get a few points out of the game. But subsequent to that, I actually went down to the club, which was quite scary, having not been there since September, I think, and played Mr. Saunders in real life. So that was quite nice, as Peter said, having a few pints just to keep Ravi going and have a real game. So we tried...
medieval.
Yeah, we're playing medieval games. So Dave brought his later medieval Spanish, and I brought the Burgundian Ordnance. Again, Tim, using our design philosophy of what have I painted most recently, I based my army around that rather than anything scientific. I painted up a bunch of the heavy spear longbow option guys. So that was the army choice. And then I built everything around that. So it was a small army, only 18. Dave's army was 23, but I lost at the end. But I was only 2 points off breaking Dave. So it was a cracking game. We also tried some of the new mechanics of one of the things we liked in version 4 is they've seemed to have mitigated a lot of the buttocks of death by light horse or cavalry sticking a corner around something that can evade. Now you've got to properly zock it to stop it getting around. Otherwise, if there's a 1 UD gap, you can slide around it. So we tried that in a couple of examples just to sort of see what would happen. And light horse tried to zock my light horse, you're able to get away from it. So that was quite neat. So I can definitely see the Mongol armies where you have a strategist and all that. Then now actually becomes a reason to have better generals rather than just going, I'll have 3 competence. Pips will become important for those armies.
Okay.
We all got cracked in. And then last night I had a game of Renaissance, trying a couple of the newer rules. And we had a cracking game. We were playing a Dutch rebellion versus Low Countries Spanish. So, Spain and the Dutch were fought over Holland for quite a few years. And we had a game of 5 tercios running around the table, quite effective. And we had our first flank march. So I managed the Dutch get some caracol troops to flank march on the table. And the Spanish did not like it. So they arrived about turn 3, turn 4, they're getting ready for melee. And it was nice to actually see a flank march slowly push his flank off, while the tercios did what they did best, walk up, shot a couple of times, charged in, walked straight through my pike and shot, and started going for the baggage.
Right, okay. So that chugged on quite nicely.
It was good to get 5 tercios on the table and actually get a result in 2.5 hours.
No, solid. Okay. And Tamsin, are you gearing up to get to the club at some point? And
yeah, I am, but I thought I was allowed for tournament addicts get their fix in the first couple
practice.
Of weeks. Let them calm down a little bit.
Yeah, has it?
That might take some time.
Has it actually been full with all 5 tables each? Not quite. Okay.
Didn't look full. There was some. I think there was about 4 tables last night. There were...
On Thursday for us, when I was playing Dave, there was only 4 tables, so there was still quite a bit of space.
Okay.
I think most will be there for Monday, though, won't they?
I think there's some talk that 5 have been booked for next week on one night, haven't they? So that's
Monday night.
Yeah,
Monday night bank holiday. Okay, good. So it's all starting to roll together, isn't it? And I think the competitions are starting to book up. Adam, you've got how many for Bournemouth? Is it 24 already or something?
Yeah, and I'm about to check out to see whether we can get to any more. So for people that are going and want to start, I'm going down to employment tomorrow to talk to people. So I'm going to start putting out information about list checkers and stuff soon, because the end of July is coming surprisingly quickly.
Surprisingly close, isn't it? And I think York, fingers crossed, is all good to be on, and that a load of us will be going up to. That's list deadline in the next few days to get something submitted, which is a bit scary. The competition in Devon in November has got 30 people signed up for it.
Wow.
In like 2 weeks. 20 of them want to play 25 mil and 10 obviously in 15s, which is an amazing turnaround. So and I actually did a recce last week and saw the venue. So provided the COVID restrictions carry on getting lifted, which, God forbid they're still in place by November, but I think there's room for at least another, comfortably, even sort of COVID spaced out, another 8 tables in there. So that could be like an enormous event. We could be repopulating the coastal towns in the middle of winter, which would be a bit kind of nuts.
Are you trying to get Devon to become the end of year BritCon, try to get this massive competition going on down there?
Yeah, well, it might not be far off, particularly as some of the people who play down there. I can't remember if we knew this 2 weeks ago. One guy got in touch and said he's bought a B&B, not because of the competition, but he's bought a B&B nearby there, which is kind of nuts. So there's a lot of people down in the West Country, anywhere from Bristol down to Plymouth way, are all keen and piling in. So that's all good news as well. So it's all seeming to pull together on the up and coming games and competition circuit.
They've also got Rome and a bunch of others as well. I was looking on the forum for a couple of minutes earlier, and it's kind of exploding. So a lot of pent up demand.
Actually, yeah, going to an event abroad would be that's a bit weird though, isn't it? I'm not sure, given that we're not allowed to go anywhere at all at the moment. Either place. There's
a green list.
There's a green list, but it's only got 2 countries on it.
it's more like, are we allowed in? We're not allowed into Germany anymore.
No.
Yeah, how many events do you go to in Germany?
Well, apparently the Germans are picking up ADLG. the 6th edition crowd in Germany have decided to move en masse to
Really?
ADLG.
Yeah, it's
wow.
because Paul that I play with
Yeah.
a lot, he goes to Germany a lot. He's an honorary German, and they've all stopped 6th. 6th is now officially dead because the Germans aren't playing it anymore.
Yeah.
6th what?
ADLG, and they'll be doing ADLG competitions.
Yeah.
6th what?
That took 6th quite a long time to die, really.
Yes, it did. I think I was.
40
Yeah,
years.
Peter, that's wargaming before your time.
Yeah.
That was when there was
Way before my
WRG 6th.
Oh, WRG. I've heard those letters before.
Yeah.
I thought it was some sort of disease, but there we go.
Well, I think 7th edition was a bit of a disease. 6th was a good solid set for its day, but 7th was where it just got a bit tricky, didn't it? Really, that was all a bit weird.
This means war. This means war.
Oh, yeah, the cataphract list. So with Tibetans, you can do a list with 3, I think it's 2 competent generals, an embedded ordinary, 16 cataphracts, 4 of which are elite, and a fortified camp.
What's the not to love with that?
What's not to love?
Well, there is one thing
That's
not
all
to
the
love.
Dave Roddick.
Mountains.
There is one thing not to love. If you're doing a Tibetan army and you can't have magical exorcists in it,
Yeah.
then it's not worth doing.
Well, I suppose if you embed a couple more of the generals, you could fit in the exorcists as well, or swap them for the camp. But just
Going to say that the
16
Brits can
cataphracts.
have a sacred camp, can't they, with the druids and stuff?
Yetis.
With the Yetis, yeah, probably not the Druids. I
You're
think
going to
that's
have a
different
Yeti
mountain.
camp. Tibetans with a Yeti camp. You got to try it.
Yeah,
That-
that army you're saying with the 16 cataphracts, Dave Roddick, who is well known in the Fog AM circuit, he quite a few competitions was running a all medium knight army. So he did an uber full badger of the entire table of medium knights, and then I think there's like a light horse and a light foot. So it was a very simple army, quite effective, because he either won very big or he was at the pub in half an hour.
Well, you know, the table is 30. The table's 30 bases wide. There's 4 in each flank, so that makes it 22. And if you're covering 16 of it with cataphracts, you get a bit of impassable. You get a waterway down. You're going right there. It is. Just hoover them up. What
Just
could possibly go wrong?
go at it.
Other than elephants or pikemen or any of those other things.
Well, it's like, you don't worry about pikemen anymore.
I still worry about pikemen. I can lose them against anything.
Yeah, but you'd still be too. Cataphracts would still be 2 down against pikemen in the first round, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so. So that really wouldn't work. So they might still struggle.
Unless the pipe charge them, and then they
Well, maybe I'll give it a try. But now I've given my secret away. Possibly that will be. But that's like 2 games in an evening, isn't it? That either works or it doesn't, and then I'll turn up with a proper army afterwards. But at least it won't take much space in the tin, which could be a bit of a win.
Be a fast game.
Be a very fast game.
Are you taking Thracians to York, Tim?
I am. Yeah, I've given it a go quite a few times now. I've played 3 games with it. No, 2 games with it. Won 1, lost 1, and keep tweaking the list each time. So I think it's an interesting list.
Yes, which version of the Thracian army are you using?
Well, I don't want to say, Andy, because there'll be all sorts of people listening trying to gain an advantage.
What, you mean people listen to this?
Allegedly so. We've got nearly 300 listens from the last one, which is astonishing.
Well, I'm using
the list that I beat.
Yeah, well, no, a different list. It's going to get amended from that one. It's going to get amended and changed.
Right.
And he's learned how to move the terrain around properly now.
Yes, I've learned how to put the terrain and keep the terrain on table. That should make quite a big difference.
Always makes a difference.
Yeah,
it's just trying to understand with this new rule set about what's going to be the punch through group. The bit that's going to sort of like exploit as opposed to just doing the whole move around and do the flanks and try and do a breakthrough. It's like, what's going to be the unit that's going to be punched through?
Moving around flanks is going to be more difficult now that light cavalry have got the Zoc.
Unless you run over the light cavalry, and then they become casualties, and then you're even a bit closer to beating the enemy. So,
but while you're chasing them off, you can't be hitting other people in the flank if they put themselves in the right position.
Yeah, a lot of different things going on.
That's what Yetis are for.
Yeah.
This means war.
So look, with that discursive wander around future, past, present, potential army list competitions, all the rest of it, that brings us full circle to the world of Gallic disco, where people do rotate around the garlic flavoured handbag. And let's call in the music for Andy's quiz. Oh, Monsieur Le Finkel. Now we're on this 2-week hiatus. It's very, very difficult to remember what the questions were last time. But hopefully you've got it written down somewhere. What were you quizzing us with last time round?
Well, it was what sort of famous politicians said for different quotes and who said them. So the first one was, "War is much too serious a thing to be left to military men."
Clausewitz.
No, it was Clemenceau, the French Prime Minister, who said Belgium is a country invented by the British to annoy the French.
Clemenceau.
Clausewitz.
Clausewitz.
I can see how this is heading. No, it was actually de Gaulle.
De Gaulle. So these are all French, because
No.
There might be another one. Okay, let's hit it.
Yeah, this is one. I'll give you a tip. This isn't the French guy, right?
Okay.
You can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after they've exhausted all the other possibilities.
That sounds like Churchill.
It's got to be Churchill. It's got to be Churchill. No, I my faith in wargaming humanity was restored this week. There was one of these history Twitter accounts that posts, historic pictures. Posted a picture of General Leclerc in the Free French in 1945 in the top of a Sherman or something, liberating Paris. And this is a picture of Leclerc on the 6th of May, yada yada yada. And the first comment was like, "Yeah, great general, big leader of France." The second one was a repost of a video from Hello Hello with "It is I, Leclerc." I was just thinking, you got there too bloody quickly. I would have done that one. That was my first thought as well. But so yeah, serious history just went out the way. So, but yeah, there's nothing more serious than Andy's quiz music coming back for the half time. So Andy, what are you gifting was with this fortnight then?
Well, after the debacle of last weekend, when the score was UK 0, Italy 529 or something, I thought this week's quiz would be Italian metal, but with a chance of Britain getting more than 0 points. So here we go.
Nothing to sniff at.
No.
The first warship ever sunk by a guided missile was a World War II Italian battleship attacked by the Luftwaffe. What was its name?
There's 3 things that don't make sense in that question, but that's good.
Okay. Right, good, right. Number 2, when the Italian army entered World War II in June 1940, its most numerous armoured vehicle was the L3 tank. What was the main armament of this tank?
Attitude, possibly.
Style. Thick slabs of ablative mozzarella.
Yeah, mozzarella. Right.
Well, you may be right. You find out next time. And number 3, the Roman Navy developed a device called a corvus, a rotating boarding bridge with an iron spike to affix to an enemy ship's deck, which they fitted to their warships in the First Punic War. Notwithstanding its effectiveness, what caused the Romans to scrap the use of the corvus?
Okay. Who knows? All right. Okay. Well, look, that's 3 Italian metal themed questions. So, the only thing we know that is better than Italian metal is Gallic techno. So look, with the quiz music fading into the background, then we on this remarkably quick episode, because I guess we're all out doing stuff, really, aren't we? It's kind of weird. and it will take us a while to get back to normality of doing stuff and painting and all the rest of it. But with that, let's have a quick wrap up of what are you expecting to be doing, gaming and painting wise, and possibly shopping wise in the next couple of weeks. So, Adam, you in the sort of Stygian darkness of the weird backdrop of stuff like that. It's a bit like talking to Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now. Really,
it looks like you've got a mask on like Zorro.
That's the vibe I'm getting from you. But oh god, that's worse. That's really worse.
We can see your face.
Yeah.
I was getting more Damien vibes than anything else.
Other than sort of staging your own insurrection in northern Cambodia, what are you planning to do in the next 2 weeks?
Well, I'm hoping to get at least one game a week in, and maybe more, time allowing, and slowly carry on my French, because I need them for warfare. So I'm kind of hoping they'll be ready before November.
Okay, that's it. Maybe I should drive down to Bournemouth next week and play you a game or something. Have you got any free days?
That's a possibility, actually. Yeah. I'll get my people to
speak to your people. Yeah, that's
social
good.
diary pass people.
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
Wow, that could be weird. All right. Okay, Mr. Saunders, in between your bouts of working, is there going to be any painting done? Is there anything on the table, or are you diving into lists, or are you just playing until you work out what you want?
I've still got the festering Franks. I've decided to call them. No, I'm playing Richard on Thursday night. That'll be tough, interesting game. That's a York practice, and that will be the final practice before getting the list in for York for the Romans. And then I think Mike Bennett's invited me to his house in Rotherhithe. Going to the posh place.
Bennett Towers. Wow.
Yeah, I think he's realised he needs to play somebody better than him.
Right. Yeah, but in the meantime, he's invited you to his house. Yes, indeed.
I'll come home with my tail between my
yes, so to speak. Mr. Finkel, what about you? What's on your agenda for the next 2 weeks?
Playing Dave on tomorrow night, the computer games against Dave in the States. Then I'm playing the other Dave of this parish, who's now back into the light, on not next week but the week after. The practice for York. So I'll give my Thracians, we'll give his Romans some exercise, and we'll see how that works.
Oh, I thought he was using Parthians or something.
No, me.
Oh, the other Dave, that Dave.
Yes.
Dave, not different Dave. Different Dave. We're too many Dave. We're Dave.
Day after my second jab, so I might be a bit weirded out.
Yeah, no, mine's on
Thursday.
How can we tell? Yes, how can we tell? What? Tamsin, what about you? What is there? Are you going to finish off the terrain? Get onto figures?
I think it's going to be terrain for the next few weeks.
Right. Okay.
Thanks.
So that's bad news for your condiments cupboard.
Not for my condiments cupboard, because I bought a bulk pack.
Oh,
specifically
you bought mixed herbs specifically to use for the terrain. Okay. They didn't even pass your condiments cupboard.
You can buy a kilo.
Bolognese will never be the same again.
£7.
Wow.
Okay.
Or you can buy a jar of about 30
stuff.
grams for almost £1. It's,
yeah. No, I'm convinced, and much better for bolognese, as you say. Okay, all right. But Peter, what about you? Are you going to be grating any terrain into your bolognese?
Well, a bit of Parmesan here and there for a cheesy list. It's all good, isn't it?
Yep.
I've got the other.
Are they related to the partisans?
Yeah, no, that was the partisans. That's the other Dave that I should be playing a couple of games against on Monday to practice for him for going to York. So looking forward to that. It's always a good laugh. So I might take along 2 different armies to have a go, because it's the day off. So just to try different things out and try a couple of ideas.
Okay. You're not in from York, are you? So you can use 2 different.
No,
lists, yeah.
I've got so much other normal
stuff
going on. Unfortunately, it's sort of like curtailed me for the next couple of months.
Okay. All right, Simon. What about you then? You've got a few days away, and then you've got any gaming and painting planned in?
I've got nothing lined up for next week. I've got quite a lot of reading of the version 4 rules to try to DV3 my brain and get the changes into my head. It's funny, with all the COVID over the last 14, 15 months, trying to remember or learn new rules is taking a little bit longer. So
yeah,
I'm hoping the holiday will clear out the brain a bit. But then, yeah, trying to get a few games in. I'm not doing York or any of the competitions until I think Bournemouth is going to be my first one, where I probably will get absolutely thrashed. But I'm looking forward to just trying to get a few friendly games, or just actually pushing toys around on the table and just trying to get into some of those situations where now you've got to work out what happens rather than the usual line up, charge, and all that, which Dave and I did last week, and it's quite good. Let's get into those bad situations and work out how do we get out of it.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Weather's become much more viable for outdoor spraying and varnishing as well, so that's good. So I think, yeah, it will be trying to shift from painting and undercoating to actually trying to get a load of games in now that we can actually meet outside, inside, and in public spaces. So that's all fantastic, good dice rolling news. So maybe there will be more dice rolling stories and slightly less paintbrush wielding stories as we roll forwards and return in a couple of weeks. So we'll see you all again soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.